And I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included.
I saw that too.
So did you see Steve Bannon said that if they lose the midterms and in 2028, him and a bunch of other people are going to jail? Yeah, he's right. Because you're criminals.
Hopefully y'all actually start believing me when I say that midterms is a big deal. Not just to us, but definitely to them. Yeah, he's talking to a room of conservatives. And he literally said, if we don't win it, all y'all in here and me's is going to jail. I've been hooting and hollering about midterms for how long?
Y'all know Steve Bannon knows he going to jail. Gosh, I need some lip gloss. So guys, I don't know why I'm hyper these days, but y'all, first of all, I've been eating. I've been looking good lately. By the way, I want to say thank you so much, guys, for loving me and supporting me and subscribing to my YouTube channel and literally just keeping up with my madness. Now, y'all know Steve Bannon and DJT. They know damn well they're going to jail. Now, let me tell you. After seeing what Steve Bannon said, I got to realize why they want a dictatorship.
He's going to get a third term. So Trump 28, Trump is going to be president 28, and people just ought to get accommodated with that.
So what about the 22nd Amendment?
There's many different alternatives. At the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is, but there's a plan. We had longer odds in 16 and longer odds in 24 than we got in 28. And President Trump will be the president of the United States, and the country needs him to be president of the United States. We have to finish what we started. Trump is a vehicle. I know this will drive you guys crazy, but he's a vehicle of divine providence. He's an instrument. He's very imperfect. He's not churchy, not particularly religious, but he's an instrument of divine will. And you can tell this of how he's pulled this off. We need him for at least one more term, right? And he'll get that in 28.
You're not driving me crazy. I'm trying to understand the coherence of the things you've just told me. On the one hand, you've said the Constitution is fit for purpose. Secondly, you've said that President Trump needs another term, even though the 22nd Amendment makes pretty clear that he cannot have another term.
Why does it make that clear?
Because he's on his second term already.
At some point in time, we will make sure we go through, Zanny, and define all those terms.
Y'all remember just like 2 weeks ago, yeah? Steve Bannon came out and said, yeah, 2028, Trump is running again. We're looking at him becoming president in 2028. And American people were like, I know you're kidding, right? No, he wasn't. Because man just stood on the podium. See, what's making me laugh is this man got the balls to stand on the podium, literally to let y'all know, to do an outcry to MAGA. That y'all need to save us. Y'all put us in power. You need to save us. See, what if the Epstein files? I know damn well, if Kamala Harris comes back and she wins.
And I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included. They're not going to stop. They're getting more and more and more radical. And we have to counter that. And what do we have to counter it with? We have to counter it with more action, more intense action, more urgency. We're burning daylight. If you look across every aspect of this, we have to codify what President Trump has done by executive order, right? We have to codify it. And people say, well, they're just going to be messing bills going to pass Senate. We got to put aside these structural barriers and get on with it. President Trump today gave to the Senate when they came over for breakfast, even Lindsey Graham, some of the guys that liked, and some of these institutions, I understand this is a very tough decision to make. And you're going to see some people in the conservative movement that not in a million years, because I talked to him today, quite frankly, I had Hawley on the show this morning, Josh Hawley, and he's talking about it, and I'm trying to play the institution. Well, they called me up this afternoon and said, let's go through the 10 reasons we need to do it. And these are heavy hitters on what I would call the constitutional, the limited government, constitutionalist in our movement. And they're about to come out over the next couple of days and make this argument because it said, look, we have to understand that if we don't take this to the maximum, a maximalist strategy now with a sense of urgency, and in doing this, seize the institutions, if we don't do that now, we're going to lose this chance forever because you're never going to have another Trump.
They know their time is coming to an end. They know that MAGA is dying off. They know that this cannot last forever. When they're starting to say these things publicly, when they're starting to say we have to codify every terrible thing we've done because otherwise we will lose it all forever, they know. And you should too. You should take heart in what Steve Bannon is saying here, not because you are celebrating the evilness of this regime or the people that support it or their desperate attempts to cling to power, but their desperation itself. It reeks of weakness. They are a cornered animal, snarling, rabid, but cornered. Do not forget how far we have already come. Do not forget how long we have already been fighting this. There will be a day, and that day is not too far in the distant future, where this entire regime and the hateful MAGA rhetoric will be done.
Steve Bannon said in a room filled with conservatives that if the Republicans lose the 2026 midterm elections and also the 2028 presidency, some in the room, including himself, will likely go to jail. Yes, you heard me right. Mr. Bannon said, quote, God as my witness, if we lose the 2026 elections and the 2028 presidency, some of us are definitely going to jail. And he said, including himself, and that the Democrats will not stop. I do find this very interesting because a couple days ago, Mike Johnson also made a speech saying that if the Democrats absolutely win the House in 2026 and it's a sweep, blue wave, that they will most likely impeach Mr. Donald Trump. He will be impeached for a third time, and this time probably out of there. It'll be so awesome. So it does look like panic is starting to set in and that the house of cards is starting to crumble.
The fact that Steve Bannon has added as a campaign slogan, if we don't win this next election, these two next elections, a lot of people in this room are going to prison, myself included, lets you know everything you need to know. You have vocally admitted to committing crimes and are begging people for votes so you don't go to prison, so some of your friends don't go to prison. The amount of boldness, I guess we'll call it, boldness, begging, whatever else you like to call it, like what all are you trying to hide? You know. So yes, Steve Bannon, I would like to know, what all are you trying to hide? Why are you begging for votes so you don't go to prison? That is my main question of this video.
No, because the man is pleading. He's begging Republicans. And he's letting them know, y'all better save us from jail. I beg to ask a question, y'all. What is it? What is it that they have done to come out boldly like that and tell the entire world that if we don't win, it's over for us? Like, I tell you, I saw Steve Bannon talking. I was like, probably the devil is coming to collect what belongs to him.
We're all well aware Kanks is a convicted felon. He would have been convicted had Merrick Garland had any balls, had Joe Biden pushed. He'd be in jail rotting right now, but he's not. But he pardons criminals and he hangs around with criminals. He takes advice from criminals. And Steve Bannon just actually said it straight up yesterday. Let's listen.
I'll tell you right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included. They're not going to stop.
Okay, here's the thing. If you are not committing crimes, other than in Pam Bondi's Justice Department, I'll give you that. If you're not committing crimes, you don't sit around and worry about going to prison. You don't worry about being arrested. You don't worry about rotting in jail. The only people that talk about if somebody else is in power, I'm going to be arrested, are criminals doing shady shit. And we know Steve Bannon is a crime lord. I mean, he is a walking, talking crime. Tanks, walking, talking, corruption, crime, fraud, all the things. It is his life's work. And now he is the biggest crime boss in American history because he sits behind the Oval Office, which you put a sign in front of should somebody get lost, and commits crimes on a daily basis. In my opinion, probably even an hourly basis. And so does everybody around him. But I just find it so striking. They are so empowered. The crime is so pervasive that they just sit around and like, the Democrats will put us in jail because we're fucking criminals. It's staggering how pathetic these people are.
So did you see Steve Bannon said that if they lose the midterms and in 2028, him and a bunch of other people are going to jail? Yeah, he's right. Because you're criminals. And this goes for you ICE agents too. Remember, following orders is not an excuse for breaking the law. And detaining American citizens without a warrant is illegal. Detaining American citizens without any kind of due process is illegal. And if you're one of these ICE agents who's been grabbing people off the street and kidnapping them, yeah, that's illegal. There's a good chance you're going to prison. So if you're an ICE agent, maybe before you continue doing illegal things, you should consider the fact that just following orders is not going to get you out of prison. And when the Democrats win in 2026, as long as we don't end up with centrist, crappy Democrats like Joe Biden, you're all going to prison. And I hope you have a real good time in prison.
Look at what Steve Bannon just said tonight.
And I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included.
I mean, if these guys aren't running scared, I have never seen Steve Bannon talk like this before. They are so spooked by what happened the other night with that whole blue tsunami, that blue wave that raced across America, right? In New York and even Pennsylvania and New Jersey and Virginia and out here in California. They are freaking out. Their plan is just not happening. And so what Steve Bannon was doing there in front of whatever the crowd was, it was probably 10 people. It's like trying to rally the troops. Like they're going to do something about this. They see how quickly we can rally our troops. We did those No Kings days, and then we came out and we voted. And these guys are running scared. And did you see what he said? If we don't do something about this, some of us are going to end up in prison, including me, meaning himself, Steve Bannon.
Mm-hmm. I saw that too.
And I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included. They're not going to stop. They're getting more and more and more radical. And we have to counter that. And what do we have to counter it with? We have to counter it with more action, more intense action, more urgency. We're burning daylight. If you look across every aspect of this, we have to codify what President Trump has done by executive order, right? We have to codify it. And people say, well, they're just going to be messing bills going to pay Senate. We got to put aside these structural barriers and get on with it. President Trump today gave to the Senate when they came over for breakfast. Even Lindsey Graham, some of the guys that like, and some of these institutions, I understand. This is a very tough decision to make. And you're going to see some people in the conservative movement that not in a million years, because I talked to him today, quite frankly, I had Hawley on the show this morning, Josh Hawley, and he's talking about it. And I'm trying to play the institution. Well, they called me up this afternoon and said, let's go through the 10 reasons we need to do it. And these are heavy hitters on what I would call the constitutional, the limited government constitutionalist in our movement. And they're about to come out over the next couple of days and make this argument because it said, look, we have to understand that if we don't take this to the maximum, a maximalist strategy now with a sense of urgency, and in doing this, seize the institutions, if we don't do that now, we're going to lose this chance forever because you're never going to have another Trump, right? You're just not going to have it.
Yep, I saw it. Now, what type of innocent people are worried about being arrested in 2028? If everything that they are doing is on the up and up, why are they so worried about being arrested in 2028? The left does not arrest people unless there has been a crime committed, right? Sounds like those folks on the right are a bit worried. And yes, the battle will continue. Yes, we understand what's at stake. We know that if y'all are able to do what it is that y'all are trying to do before 2028, we know y'all will win the war. And so on the left, we will do everything possible to make sure that that doesn't happen. And my vote would be for Letitia James to be Attorney General come 2028. And she is the one to round all of y'all's asses up.
Look, you don't have to threaten me with a good time because former Trump advisor Steve Bannon just said that Republicans need to turn out in 2026 to vote because if they don't, Democrats are going to throw them in jail. Watch.
And I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included.
So Steve Bannon definitely knows a thing or two about prison because he served jail time for defying a January 6th subpoena. He also dodged more jail time after pleading guilty to defrauding donors. And it's weird that he's saying that he and other Republicans might end up in jail because you think you wouldn't have to worry about that if you weren't currently breaking laws. I don't know. It sounds like he just told on himself and a few others. And that wasn't the only thing. He also said this. Watch.
If we don't do that now, we're going to lose this chance forever because you're never going to have another.
All right. Is that a promise? Because the reason Republicans are so worried about the midterm elections next year and the elections in 2028 is because they saw the enthusiasm on Tuesday and it spooked them. They know that if Democrats take back the House, there will be real oversight because having a majority in the House isn't just about getting bills passed. With that majority comes subpoena power and the power to investigate what this administration is doing. Because if I were a betting man, I'd bet they're breaking laws right now and they know the clock is ticking.